Welcome. I'm Doreen Milano, and this is Big Ideas Small Business. And today we are doing a coaching roundtable. We're going to do some live coaching. So stick around.
You're tuned into Big Ideas Small Business with Doreen Milano. Doreen brings energy, focus, and creativity with the most cutting-edge tools and systems needed to grow business, drive profits, and achieve dreams. Ready to rise? Here's your host, Doreen Milano.
Okay, so our coaching subject today is going to be Stephen Wood. He just moved here from California, and he's now in Texas. And one of the things that we are going to answer for him is what he needs to do to really get himself established in Dallas area as a magician. I was going to say musician, but that's not correct.
Actually, it is correct for me too.
Well, that's right. You do have a degree in music.
I have a master's degree in tuba performance. I actually play tuba. Everyone's going, there's a useless degree. Yeah.
I was wondering about the performance side, but we'll coach you on that.
For tuba, I'd like to see it. Thank you. I was asked to do something special for the camera. Hi, camera. So can I borrow a dollar bill from someone?
Oh, I just happen to have one.
Oh my gosh, it's like you were coached. It's like you were coached. Wow.
Do I get it back?
I'll tell you what, I'll make a deal with you. I'll give you this bill back exactly the way you gave it to me. Is that all right?
That works.
Okay, good. Now, I'm not going to tear it up or do any corny magic stuff, no burning. But I am going to show you my 28-year-old son's favorite trick. Now, to do that, I'll have to show you my favorite bill for any show that I do. So please, watch the 5. It will never leave your sight. But with a twist and a blow, I'll take and turn that bill into my favorite bill for any show that I do. And my favorite bill happens to be a $100 bill. And I really have to stay away from asking you to say "wow" backwards.
So can we change our deal?
No. But you do bring up an important problem with this trick. And the problem with this trick is that greed wins out. Yes. See, because I gave you my word that I'd give you your bill back exactly the way you gave it to me.
You know, and part of coaching in Texas, your word is an important thing.
I'm glad you know that, and I know that my word is not worth $95. And if it is, you know what that makes you? My ex-wife. I'm not going to let you ruin the joke. Thank you.
So now you're in California, right? No,
yes. So now what I have to do is show you my 28-year-old son's least favorite trick. And his least favorite trick is when I take the 100, give it a twist and a blow, and I change it back into the 5. Now that may be his least favorite trick, but at least I get to keep my integrity alive as a man and give you that bill back exactly the way you gave it to me. Yeah.
Wow.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you. Isn't it nice to know I actually know what I'm doing? All right.
Well, that just means that what we can really help with here is how do we get you established in the Dallas market as the incredible magician that you are, right?
Right.
So we're talking about a lot of different things. And Malcolm, what do you have to say at this point?
Well, that was incredible, by the way.
Thank you.
That's the first thing. What I noticed right away is that with what you do, you have to have the ability to communicate with an audience, have them laugh. So there's some skills there that allow you to expand upon what you're doing. So here's my first question to you: is when you go out and actually, perform, are you doing magic only, or are there other things that you do with your performances?
When I perform, it's a total thing. It's not just magic. It's personality. It's jokes. It's having things prepared in the back of your mind so that when you have a chance to improv, that you can use those things to improv. It's a combination of things. It's one of the things that I had to learn about what I do is that I'm not just a magician. I'm actually doing something that's important. It's entertainment. It's taking people away from the problems that they have and transporting them to something else so that they can forget about their problems. When you understand how our brains work, when you have problems and then you encounter that kind of entertainment, the entertainment takes you away from that. It changes the way your brain works so that when you go back to the issue or the problem, you can actually look at it with fresh eyes. And I have found out that good entertainment, like what I give, is important for our society as a whole.
I love that message, and that leads to my next question is, when you market your business, are you marketing that or are you marketing magician?
When I market my business right now, I am marketing a tomato can. And the reason why I'm marketing a tomato can is because the way that marketing is taught to magicians like myself is that you have all this that you do, and now you're competing with another tomato can. And I'm learning to not market a tomato can, but to market my abilities and skills as a magician, which makes me different than another tomato can. If all you're doing is buying a tomato can, then you just want the tomato can that is the least expensive, and I'm not a tomato can. I'm really good at what I do. I know what I do is worth it. There's value to it, and I want to market that value, not the tomato can.
I love it, and that's where I'm seeing the opportunity. When you spoke, you didn't speak about the magician. You spoke about the opportunity to entertain and the opportunity to make an impact and to make a difference, and that opens up a whole world for you, for corporations, where they can see that things are possible even though they can't see it. So when you have an opportunity to maybe speak to them in a keynote and incorporate showing them with magic that, hey, this is possible even though you may not be able to see it, there's another opportunity. So I love the path that you're on, so that the thing I'm offering is to continue to expand upon not putting yourself in a tomato can, but that really realize that what you're offering is transformational to businesses, to schools, to families, just using that skill of what you have, the way that you can speak and captivate an audience and entertain them. That's a whole opportunity that I see for you.
I would agree. I would definitely agree.
So, Paul?
One of the things I really like is, so we just met, what, a half hour ago? Mm-hmm. But we had a great time with your magic trick. You know, the ability, so I do a relationship mastery podcast.
Okay.
So being outgoing like you are, and being able to connect almost instantly with someone as me, or with an audience if you're standing up there doing your magic trick, whether it's for a corporation or it's for a school or something, but I feel in you that you really exude the, hey, I'm a guy, I'm here doing a magic trick, you can talk to me, we can have fun, because we did have fun, and availing yourself of, you're a little vulnerable, but that's okay, come talk to me, let's build that relationship. We can do it from here to there, or we can do it right here. And it's important because if people think if say you got up there and you were kind of stiff and people would perceive you as standoffish, and they're going like, oh, what kind of magic is that? But you know, I just sense in what you're doing and the conversation we've had that you're able to connect with people really quickly. And I'm sure that really helps with what you're doing. It's
an important skill to have, and it is a skill. I always tell this story. If you've ever been to LA, you know the Magic Castle's in LA. And I went to the Magic Castle one day. I'm a member of the castle still, even though I'm in Texas. And I went to see, there was a magician performing in the close-up gallery at the Magic Castle. And I probably shouldn't say this on tape, but I'm about to. It was the guy at the time who was taking care of the Magic Castle library. And he was doing all of this complex sleight of hand. And all the magicians were geeking out at what he was doing. All the non-magicians were bored to tears. It was born into tears. So I've taken that to heart. And I try to, what I do here is not as important as what I do here. It's that most everything that I do, I've done so many times that I don't have to think about it. And when you can get to that point where you don't have to think about it, then you're able to go to the next level. You're able to entertain. You're able to put stories behind magic. I've actually had the opportunity, I'm a Christian, so I actually had an opportunity, a couple of opportunities to do magic in a church set. And one of the most important nights of my magic career was when someone came to the Lord because of what I did. And it's not because of what I did, it's because of who God is. But the idea that you can take this art form and put a message behind it and then have it be so life transformational. And it doesn't just have to be spiritual. It could be a family that was having troubles that came to see me do a close-up show and walked away forgetting about all the troubles and saying, what you did transformed our lives.
And we're going to stop here for a second.
Yes.
We're going to take a commercial break. We'll be right back.
We are being censored. America's news outlets no longer provide the truth. 90% of news outlets in the United States are controlled by 6 corporations. They're not out to tell you the truth of what's happening. They're out to tell you the picture of the world that they represent. The mission of the Epoch Times is to chase the truth, to ground all statements in facts, and prevent people from being misled. The Epoch Times is independent. We're not controlled by any special interests, and we never will be. The Epoch Times is a non-partisan media. That means we don't stand for any political party. This is a battle between truth and deceit, a battle between forces that would ensnare this country in ignorance, and between a media that wants to present you with the truth. Subscribe today and join the Americans who are seeking truth and tradition. We'd love to have you on board.
Business runs on technology, and human beings are creatures of habit. Unfortunately, not all our habits are good. Technology, when it works, is supposed to make our lives easier, creating routines that allow us to protect customer data, track our progress, forecast the future, communicate better, and move much faster. So, you need technology solutions that work when you're not working, or simply not paying attention. Smart technology solutions, making the complicated uncomplicated.
My American dream is to help you stay healthy and energized so you can live your American dream.
Our American dream is equipping future generations of American dreamers.
My American dream is to protect my community so they can live their American dream.
My American dream is to bring you some spice and flavor to your life.
Our American dream is ensuring what's most valuable to you.
Our American dream is creating opportunities for healthcare providers so they can have their American dreams.
My American dream is serving our business community and advocating for all of your American dreams.
Welcome back. You're watching Big Ideas Small Business with Doreen Milano. I happen to be a coach. I have brought in Malcolm Reid. He's flown in from the East Coast to be the master coach for our session here. And we have the master communicator, Paul Russo, right?
Yep. Thank you for the applause.
And we are talking to Stephen Wood, who just flew in or has just moved here from California, trying to get his business reestablished here in Dallas. And so we're all going to sit here and really work on what we can do to support Stephen in his transition. And business is business, right?
Yep.
And business does not work unless we have some cash flow. And sales, now I know this for a fact because I'm a transplant from California myself. Marketing and sales here in Dallas is different than what you can get away with in California. Correct?
That's true. Well, one of the things that we kind of mentioned in a previous section that you were on is, shaking someone's hand. Being honest, being open. I find in relationships there's nothing wrong with someone asks you something and you're like, I'm not sure, or I can't do that. Instead of like trying to sell ourselves, going like, oh yeah, I can do that. I can do anything. Yeah. I can play a tuba. I can't. I hear you can. But see, and that's part of the relationship building too, is like having fun, enjoying yourselves, and you mentioned that, but we need to understand magicians they're earning a living. And that, it's not all take my $5, make it 100, and sorry, I've made my money for the day. It doesn't work that way. It is a business, and business needs to occur for all of us to be able to live, pay our bills, and have fun. So tell me about the business of a magician.
Well, business of a magician, it really is based in a couple of things. First, you have to book shows. And I've found that there are different kinds of clients depending on, and they seem to be the different kinds of clients no matter if you're in California or you're in Texas. There's one client who is asked the question before they even talk to you, how much do you charge? They're not interested in how you relate to them. They're not interested in if you're actually good at what you do. They're interested in one thing only, and that's the bottom line. And so if you ask them, what's your budget? They'll say, no, how much do you charge? And then you give them a price, and they're like, oh, that's too expensive. No, they knew what their budget was, but they didn't want to have a working relationship. They wanted to actually be on top, and they want to make sure that they are in control of the situation. And I will be honest with you, those are people that I don't want to work for.
Not your perfect client.
Not my perfect client. And then on the other hand, you have clients like someone who hired me for his wife's 50th birthday party. And what happened was we had a little bit of a conversation about budget, but when I got there and after the show was done, he said, I am so glad I found you. You made this party shine. And it was the kind of thing where we worked together, and he didn't look at me as a soup can. He looked at me as someone who could come into the party and give his party and his wife the magical experience that goes beyond just doing tricks, the magical experience of making her the center of attention. And he got a couple of kisses, and he said something to me that I'm going to say to you. He said to me in private, thank you, I'm going to get laid tonight.
There you go. Well, that's not a bad business model.
No, it's not. But that business model needs to translate over to this. Right. So in my business model, I get a lot of business off of a lead generation site called bark.com. But at the same time, I'm getting a certain level of client from that who only are willing to spend a certain amount of money. And I'm already finding out where the ceiling is as far as my business is concerned. One of the things I'd like to do is get that ceiling of how much I can charge to move up, which means I need to get to a different kind of client. And I wouldn't mind hearing ideas about how to do that.
Are you so you're not okay with things being the way that they are right now?
Nope.
How much longer are you okay with things staying this way?
So how much longer? I'm not okay with it yesterday.
Okay.
But the way things are right now is, for me, it seems like, it's not, but at this point in time, it seems like it's the only way to go because it's getting me money. Does that make sense?
I understand the challenge. It's normal.
Right.
It's a normal challenge that, not just in your industry, that others face in other industries because, as you mentioned, everyone looks the same. The question becomes, are you receptive to doing things differently?
Yes.
So I want you to remember this phrase. It's called market dominating position.
Okay.
You must create that. And let me explain what it is. It's where you're no longer in the same box as magicians. It's where you shift from going internal about what you do, and you're going to now talk to the world based on what they want. Example. The guy who you did the party with, he said, man, you made my wife feel a certain kind of way. See, when you step outside of the magician who the world sees you as just another magician, and you connect with what the person feels as a result of their experience with you, you lead your marketing with that versus you completely don't even mention magician. You talk about the problem that this person has that they're looking for a solution for. And when you are speaking their language based on what they're feeling and what they're looking to achieve, all of a sudden, magician never comes up. What comes up is, how are you going to make me feel? And this happens before they meet you. And there's a formula for that. there's a formula that will allow you to separate yourself and create a market dominating position. And here's the formula. I'm going to give it to you right now. First step, it's called the conversion equation. First step is your client has a problem they don't want.
Okay.
Your client is looking for a solution that they can't find. And then your responsibility becomes to educate them in a way that's not salesy. Just educate them that you and your services are going to solve that problem far better than any of your competition. And by the way, you're not speaking as a magician. And then you make them an offer so compelling they can't say no. And when you follow that formula, what happens is they're attracted to you. You no longer have to force yourself into these places where you're in this big, well, this little pond with a whole bunch of other fish. Mm-hmm. You're in this little pond and everyone's coming to you because you have a market dominating position. No one's talking about price. Price becomes irrelevant. And we can have we're limited today, so we can talk a little bit more offline about specifically how you go about tapping into that.
See, my business saying is, I use magic to create memories that last a lifetime, and nowhere in that is I use $250 to get you to pay me so I can do a show for you. I get it. Nowhere in that. I like that the idea of having the market dominating position. Yeah. So another issue I see within my own business is that I do most of my marketing through the same site. Right. So the next question I would have is getting to that market dominating position, letting them see that they get much more benefit from me than they get from any other magician. The next question is, how do I get my name marketed out into the public without using a marketing site that I'm paying for like that?
Well, for now, that's like, well, good. I'm sorry, Paul.
One of the ways is, okay, so you have a gentleman who loved what you did for his wife, and there were probably other people there too, correct?
Yeah, I had 3 guys give me tips after that show too.
That's good. So have you, in establishing relationships and going outside, have you contacted your client and says, I'm glad you had such time. Do you have anyone that you can refer to me?
No, I have not.
Okay, because in business, and I have my own business, I'm the same thing. We forget to ask. That is the biggest thing. I can make the world's best presentation, but if I don't ask you, you're going to say, hey, that was a great presentation, see you later. You've established a relationship with him and the other men. You could say, hey, you know, some of your friends gave me tips. Is there a way that you can reach out to them and have them contact me so we can see if they're interested in me doing a magic show for them? When you have a client, the other thing is you don't really have to have it in writing from it, but if you had your own website, you could say, Bill said I did a fabulous job for his wife. You don't have to use a last name, but it's building your credibility. The biggest thing is you need to call him back. How long has it been?
2 months.
2 months, say, hey, you know, I was just following back up. I know it's been a couple months since your wife's 50th birthday. I hope you all had a great time based on the conversation we had. Is there anyone that you can refer me to? That's the biggest thing, because you'll remind him it's been 2 months. You'll remind him how much fun it was and the other stuff that was going on. And then you might see how the conversation goes and say, you know, I had 3 of your friends give me a tip. What's the possibility of reaching out to them and seeing if they would like me to do a magic trick for them? So because we also don't follow up. If we don't follow up, we can't ask again. Because at your magic show is not, or your, I don't want to say magic show, at your presentation, experience, sorry about that. I mean, that's thinking outside the box. You know, I put you in a box there. I didn't mean to put you in a box. But you can't do it right there during your presentation. It's not tasteful. After a week and a half, follow back up with them. That will get you the memory of the presentation. It'll make them smile. That's all building that relationship.
And I think the biggest piece here is that you provide experiences.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
You just have, magic is
how he does it.
How you do it, but you provide experiences.
Yes.
So on that note, we are going to stop for a second for a commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Business runs on technology, and human beings are creatures of habit. Unfortunately, not all our habits are good. Technology, when it works, is supposed to make our lives easier, creating routines that allow us to protect customer data, track our progress, forecast the future, communicate better, and move much faster. So, you need technology solutions that work when you're not working, or simply not paying attention. Smart technology solutions, making the complicated uncomplicated.
My American dream is to help you stay healthy and energized so you can live your American dream.
Our American dream is equipping future generations of American dreamers.
My American dream is to protect my community so they can live their American dream.
My American dream is to bring you some spice and flavor to your life.
Our American dream is ensuring what's most valuable to you.
Our American dream is creating opportunities for healthcare providers so they can have their American dreams.
My American dream is serving our business community and advocating for all of your American dreams.
Welcome back. I'm Doreen Milano. I am a certified executive business coach, and we have Malcolm Reid here. He's a master coach that flew in from the East Coast to be with us today. We have Paul Russo. I have a hard time with your last name, Paul. I'm sorry.
It's Paul Russo.
And he is the master communicator.
Thank you.
Right?
Yeah.
And Stephen Wood is here seeking support in his new endeavor. He just moved to Dallas, and he is creating incredible experiences for people here in Dallas.
Yes.
So we are going to continue the conversation about experience, right?
Absolutely.
And this is something that I think all businesses can really relate to, because what you do, you may be selling a car, you may be selling a refrigerator, you may be selling clothes, but it is the experience that the client gets that makes you memorable. That is the reason they go back to your establishment to get that experience.
Yeah, and I have to commend you for, first of all, for being here, and second of all, for being vulnerable. That is the most difficult thing for a business owner, is to really say, you know what, I'm going to open myself up and be just vulnerable to receiving information. And the fact that you're doing that, that in of itself, I felt your energy when you were talking about, when you went into the church, and I felt you get emotional. That is part of that experience that you create. You can tell that this matters to you. And so just stepping into that level of authenticity, it completely separates you from everyone else that you're working with. And so I would just encourage you to keep leading with that. It's going to go a long way.
What I have found in the magic industry, I'm supposed to be talking to them back there. No, sorry. So what I just found in the magic industry, I found is that the way that we're encouraged to market, it becomes I'm marketing me. So it becomes a very personal thing. And it's sometimes, if you're not accepted in your marketing, if somebody doesn't want to hire you, it becomes something where you might, sometimes I have felt personally hurt by it. And the idea of being able to divorce that, so that I understand that I am marketing an experience that I present, but it's not about myself as a person, or my worth as a person, or my worth as a performer. Realizing that is a part of the situation. And that's another thing that took me a long time to understand. And also understanding what I do and don't like to perform, where I do and don't like to perform. I like the idea of dominating the market that I want to be in. To be completely blunt, I want to do as few kids shows as I possibly can. And the reason why is because the kids show is the most work, and the parents will always say, it's only a small party for about 30 kids. So they say that to indicate that they don't have to pay as much money. There's that, or the other kind of business you get is the person who calls and they're calling for to raise money. And the first thing they say is they're describing how good their charity is. And the next after that is going to be, so I need you to donate your time.
Right.
You get that a lot too. And I've already gotten both of those in Texas too. So those are things that can subtly affect you here. So I'm realizing that I have to have this in place as much as anything else. So I'm very interested in exploring dominating the market. I'm very interested in exploring how to do that and how to pull in more market share and how to pull in more market share that doesn't have bark.com associated to it.
Yeah. And when you talk about, everyone wants something for free, and it's something as a consumer that we as consumers have to get over, because when I see things, it's like, hey, I need to find a cheap tire. Do you really want to run on a cheap tire?
Right.
Do you want a cheap experience? If you want a cheap experience, you can get cheap experiences. I've learned not to go cheap. You need to go quality. You need to quality experience, and there's so much of a difference. We've all been there where we've gone to the restaurant that only has one car. There's a reason you don't do that. Mm-hmm. And it's a reason everyone has value. And you mentioned, about taking things personal. We all do, but we all have a value because you turned my 5 into 100 and then didn't give it to me, but gave me back my 5 because you kept your word. But I couldn't do that. I would probably have to burn it or do something. I don't know what I'd have to do, go to the bank. But that's worth.
Well, one of the things that I get to share, and I share it with my clients all the time, the culture of the experience that you want to create is the difference between, and I'm going to date myself here, ladies and gentlemen, the difference between walking into Kmart and the difference between walking into iMagnon.
Man, you're not just dating yourself, you're really taking yourself out to dinner on that one. Holy smokes. Wow.
But the experience is totally different.
Right.
It is not to be ignored. Mm-hmm. So if we look at what you call the soup can marketing, where all magicians fit into the same soup can, there is no value differentiator that says I'm worth more. So when we look at you stepping up and being a high-end deliverer of an experience, that in and of itself is worth more money.
Yes.
No matter what.
Yes.
I was thinking about that because I helped a nonprofit in California with an evening of magic, and not only did they pay me like a professional, not only did they have the experience that I provided as a performer, they also had the experience of making like 25-30% more than they would have normally made. And I think there's something to market in that idea.
Absolutely.
Yes.
The experience that I provide not only gives you an experience you're not going to experience anywhere. I'm using experience a lot. Not going to experience
but that's
anywhere.
okay, because we want you to use it, because then it gets set in your mind.
That's true.
And you are an experience.
You are.
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah, and you teach people how to treat you.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. So when you accept, and understand, it's a challenge because you have to make money, right? If you lead with I have to make money, then that becomes it becomes all consuming. When you lead with the experience that you're making for others, it completely changes the dynamic, and you make the money as a result of what you're leading with. So you now have the opportunity, as you just mentioned, is you're not only going to create the experience, but you're going to be paid and seen for who you really are. So it will no longer be personal, it'll be deeper than personal, because you'll get the fulfillment by attracting those type of people who you've taught who you are based on how you're leading.
And when you think of the word experience, people talk about, I experienced this fabulous cruise. I experienced this fabulous thing. I experienced this fabulous magician named Steve, and he did this wonderful, that's what you want to put out there. That's what you want people to say. I had an experience. Or, yeah, you came and did some magic for the 30 kids that were actually 60, and they spilled Kool-Aid on them, and you know, you've been through all that, right? And that's not your market. Your market is higher end people, higher end companies, higher end
Your market is your boardrooms.
Yes.
Your market is company retreats.
Exactly.
Your market
and that's why
is
experience. The word experience needs to be part of your marketing, part of your branding.
My market is not a Beverly Hills mother who hired me and stuck me on their mansion half-circle driveway with 35 kids where they all went in the house. That is not my market.
No, that's not your market. No, but you're right. It's the upper.
Yes.
It's the corporate. It's the company parties. In a previous section, you talked about
you for the 50th birthday party who's looking for an experience.
Mm-hmm. And an employer that wants an experience for his employees because he's trying to reach them in a different way, a different segment, but it all reaches into the, you know, and I'm just thinking, you know, just the experience. And I'm thinking, okay, how can I get you in front of people that need an experience?
Yeah, and Texas will accept you for that authentic experience that you're going to provide.
Absolutely. And we're going to wrap this up, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being here. Malcolm, thank you for driving.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Paul, thank you for accepting my invitation to come be our master communicator.
No problem. It's fun.
And Stephen, thank you for coming in and being willing to get coached.
No problem. That was good.
And you can find the OBBM Network on Roku. Big Ideas Small Business you can find on Rumble. Give us a Rumble. Share us with your friends. The sponsors of Big Ideas Small Business today are Office Furniture Source and Grace Point Media. We're recorded in front of a live audience. Thank you so much. See you soon. The fact is, business has changed. Engagement has changed. And for us to recover our businesses and our communities, we have to engage differently. If you want to have a serious conversation about engagement, community, and your business, call me, Doreen Milano, Visions to Excellence. I'm an executive coach. You can reach me at 650-483-5798 or contact me online at v2e.biz. That's capital V, number 2, e.biz. Let's have a conversation.
This has been Big Ideas Small Business with Doreen Milano. Doreen Milano solves problems for small and mid-market family-owned businesses and service-based industries. To work with Doreen, go to v2e.biz. For guest and sponsorship information, call 650-483-5798. Big Ideas Small Business with Doreen Milano is produced by Offbeat Business Media for the OBBM Network. For OBBM Network programming information, call 214-714-0495. Unauthorized use of any part of Big Ideas Small Business with Doreen Milano without prior permission through the OBBM Network is strictly prohibited.